Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. The Minnesota Vikings defeat the Indianapolis Colts 21-13. The Vikings are back. We're settled. They can set aside worries that they were just a week 1-5 thing, because we really haven't seen, anything go positively for the Vikings since week 5. They were off in week 6 while they were 5-0. That's when their bye week was. Then they had 2 quick losses to good teams, the Lions and the Rams, week 7 and 8. So here on Sunday Night Football, they beat the Colts. Oh, we can breathe. Vikings fans, Minnesotianites can kind of just say, okay, we're going to be part of this season, part of this playoff contention. And, even at halftime, the Vikings were down 7. I believe it was 0-7 at half. But you still felt like they were kind of in control. Like, if penalties were being called correctly and their kicker was making field goals, it should have been 6-0 in their favor. But yeah, I don't know what Sam Darnold did to the refs, but you are allowed to do whatever you want to Sam Darnold, because the Colts touchdown in the first half, and their only touchdown of the game, a Grover Stewart strip sack fumble that was just, blasted over the guard. It was impressive, but that was a forcible blow to the head that actually caused the fumble. Like, it seemed like it was just such a shock, like such a boom to the head, that it actually kind of like knocked things loose. I usually don't like the forcible to head penalties. I am old. I'm 39, I believe. Just, weenies, get out there and play football. But if we're going to call it for everyone else, we should call it for Darnold. And there was another play, too, at the end of the half when DeForest Buckner got a sack that I believe, set the Vikings out of realistic touchdown range, and Riker ended up missing a field goal there at the end of the first half. Buckner sacked Darnold, and then as he was sacking him, did a second move, a second slam, a pile drive. That, if that happened to Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes, the refs would have euthanized the defender, like, live on NBC. Like, Darnold, the guy was sacking him, and then he's like, and I'm also going to drive him into the ground. We've seen such weak pass interference calls, like QD Pay in the second half on Sam Darnold. Clear roughing, a second slam. I think that's the one I'm actually thinking of. The Buckner one was more of a pile drive. The QD Pay one was like a clear roughing. It was a second motion down into the ground. So there are 3 pretty obvious roughing the passer calls for Sam Darnold that I think were missed. Yes, we can miss 1 or 2, but combining it with the fact, the way that Thursday Night Football against the Rams ended with, a face mask in the end zone, ripping off Darnold's head almost. What is going on? I don't know. This isn't what we should be talking about for Sam Darnold. It's a good story. The Vikings are 6-2. He threw 3 touchdowns today. He now has 17 touchdowns in 8 games. It's a good story. If all comeback stories, Geno Smith is one of the unlikeliest ones. Baker Mayfield has also, revitalized his career, but Sam Darnold feels the least likely. I don't know. Geno Smith was pretty unlikely too, but it's fun. It's fun. 17 touchdowns, 8 games. That's as many touchdowns, or 1 more touchdown, than he had across 17 starts with the Carolina Panthers in 2021 and 2022. He's got 1 more touchdown with the Vikings in 8 games. The Colts side, they benched Anthony Richardson. That was the big story. It was an even bigger story because it was ahead of this primetime Sunday Night Football game. And then this happened. Joe Flacco comes in, 0 points offensively through 3 quarters. Ended up with only 6 offensive points, which is actually lucky that they got even 6. One of the field goals was gifted by a Darnold interception, which was right after a Flacco interception. And then the other one was just a late garbage time field goal against prevent defense. They didn't even deserve 6 offensive points. That's how bad the Colts offense today. And Anthony Richardson, like Chris Collinsworth said, it's got to be sitting on the sideline being like, I could have done that. I could have done this. But, I mean, the owner has to be involved. Drunken Jimmer had nothing to do with this. Says everyone in the whole Colts organization unprompted. They're just saying that just out of the blue. Nothing to do with it. But, with that decision to bench a young quarterback whose, one need that everyone agrees is the need for experience, to bench him brought a lot of heat. And then in this, molten state, to have this happen in prime time with the offense unable to move the ball against, the Vikings defense that has been great, but they're not the 85 Bears. They're not the 2000 Ravens or the 2013 Seahawks. They got busted by the Lions and the Rams in week 7 and 8. So it's not like the Vikings defense is some historic defense that Anthony Richardson could have never faced. Yes, he can't read a defense, but he can also score 0 points. Things are just, this is the worst break the Colts could have gotten. And we shouldn't judge, Flacco just on this one game. He's had 3 good appearances this season. Now 1 bad one. But here's the problem for the Colts. They play the Bills next. Then the Jets, who are revitalized. That's the break, because then they play the Lions. So it's like, good God. Maybe Flacco is just going to die during that stretch, and then they'll bring in Richardson for the last 5 games. I don't know. But, Vikings pull away. I just want to close with Justin Jefferson. And, one of the reasons I started this podcast was just to, feel and wax poetic about these superstars living history. Man, just 137 yards today, just looking the part. Everything he did, he just flashed off the screen. It's like, I remember watching Marshall Faulk. I remember watching Randy Moss. I remember watching LaDainian Tomlinson or back, Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice. One day, we will be like, man, wasn't it weird that just on a random Sunday, week 9, we sat down, turned our TV on, and watched Justin Jefferson? We will be like that. This guy is a stud. God, he's good. Our Mukilteo Football Show. This show is football, everything, NFL history, legacy, ups and downs of the season. We got shows Sunday, Monday, and Thursday after the prime time games. And subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Pour some Balvenie 12. I'm on vacation this week. Perfect time for mid-season. That's why I took it. It was a good week 9. As the broadcast said, we are halfway through the season now. And more than halfway through the season, actually. I believe we've played 137 games and 135 to go. If Tarico's 136th comment at the beginning was correct. The big story for me this week, because I'm so into NFL history, is that Ravens running back Derrick Henry entered the top 20 career touchdowns this week with 106 touchdowns. The broadcast and the articles and everything are talking about his 100th rushing TD. I don't understand why the receiving touchdowns don't count, why the receiving yards don't count. I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. But Derrick Henry now has 106 touchdowns because the ones he caught count. And he bumps out Tim Brown from the Raiders into top 20 career touchdowns. It's incredible what has happened this first 9 games with the Ravens. It's like he was probably going to be Hall of Fame even if he never played a down outside of Tennessee, but he might have waited a bit. Now he's working on like first ballot type of stuff, which is really fun for me to like watch that transition. 9 games, 13 touchdowns. He started this season on the career touchdown list in the company of Isaac Bruce, Tony Dorsett, Ricky Watters, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams were right there with him. Now 13 touchdowns in 9 games later. He's in the company of Lenny Moore, Tony Gonzalez, Barry Sanders. And he's got the target up, the 20 touchdown push towards Walter Payton, Jim Brown. Like, wow. Like, whoa. Congratulations to Derrick Henry, the big man, hoping the Ravens can give us some better playoff performances, but they're clearly a juggernaut right now. And speaking of free agent running back success, Saquon Barkley with the biggest highlight of the week, and maybe one of the craziest highlights that I can remember. Like, I'm a jaded grumpy old man who's been watching football since the 90s. I've seen it all. Garrett Wilson on Thursday makes a one-handed apex point touchdown catch on Halloween. It's amazing. Devonta Smith today had one of those crazy full sprint supersonic speed towards the end zone and gets his toes down perfectly as he catches it for a touchdown. I've seen those before. Crazy? I've seen them before. What I have never seen, Saquon Barkley catching that ball, juking a couple guys, and then like anticipating, almost as if he was like MCU, like Black Widow, anticipating the defender and just jumping with his back towards his own end zone, or back towards the end zone he's going to, hurdling the guy backwards. Incredible. Like, congratulations to all of us for seeing that live, because that is going to be on the promos and intros for the next 10 years. And he did it in those beautiful Kelly greens. All right, let's talk about a couple of the games that we previewed and that I thought lived up, or at least provided some information here. Quickly, Miami and Buffalo. I enjoyed this game from the morning. This wasn't quite the red zone bonanza that we had in week 8. We had all sorts of crazy, one possession drives and backup quarterbacks driving us for late field goal wins. But Miami Buffalo today was intense. It felt, desperate for Miami. It felt deciding and like a litmus test for Buffalo. Tua, Waddle, Hill, they were all going toe to toe with the Josh Allen experience. The Buffalo Bills fans were definitely nervous as the Dolphins tied it at 20. They tied it at 27. The Bills then surprise us all. It's maybe one of the most surprising plays with Tyler Bass, because they were just was it Romo and Nance? I believe it was. As Josh Allen drove them into quote-unquote field goal range, it was a 61-yard field goal to win, so he didn't quite get where he wanted to be. They were talking about they're going into the wind. It's about 10 miles per hour coming back at Josh Allen, and you could kind of see that in the throws, I thought. I mean, maybe I'm making stuff up, but you could kind of see that they were going into the wind. And nobody had been shakier than Tyler Bass. He missed an extra point. He almost missed a second one. It clunked off the upright and just happened to go in. He's been shaky all year. He's on Oblivion watch, where you just get the yips after he missed the kick in the divisional game last year against the Chiefs. Even though I like to point out, Tyler Bass did not lose Buffalo their playoffs last year. They lost it by even attempting the field goal, because say Bass makes that kick, Mahomes gets the ball with 1:47, 2 timeouts, needing only a field goal to win. Anyway, that's another story, well covered. Tyler Bass drains this 61-yard field goal into the wind with room to spare to send Miami into just irrelevance. They're 2-6. The cold is coming. Tua is just not going to do they have no chance. It was incredible. The other big game we previewed was Green Bay Detroit. And that's the biggest narrative needle mover of the day. Because like the Lions stuffing the Packers, who are well publicized as one of the teams to watch this year, the hot new teams, a young team. The Lions just stuffing them makes it like you almost can't even realistically say right now that anyone but the Lions are going to be the NFC Super Bowl representative. Now, of course, we all know how much things can change, but it's just hard in the moment. It's like after week 2, you had to say the Saints were good, right? They've lost 7 games in a row since then. Obviously, nothing that dramatic is going to happen, but this was hard to shake, this image. And it's a big step for Detroit towards getting the number 1 seed, which is super important because Jared Goff loves to play indoors. Then again, this game was outdoors in the pouring down rain, so maybe it's not such a death knell. I don't know. God, Lions are looking good. Stuff the Vikings, stuff the Packers. This game could have been more competitive if Jordan Love was healthy. You know, there were some near misses. There was like a blitz beater, like running back touchdown that was right there on the game opening drive. It took 7.5 minutes out of the first quarter. The Packers did. They almost punched in a touchdown for what would have been a crazy statement, but it was just behind. That's the way the half started, and then it ended with Love's disastrous pick 6. Can only call it. I don't even want to call that Favre. Favre never made stupid plays like that. He made like his stupidity was his confidence. That play was just pure panic. So that's not going to work for Jordan Love going forward, though they did get hot last time. So Lions, get ready. The hype is going to be insane. I don't think that this game, I watched it, and here's my point. I spent the whole time summing it up, but here's my point. Because of those 2 plays, because of the 5 drops by the Packers receivers, because of the elements which made it like a little chaos element, I don't think the Lions are out of the woods with the Packers. CBS and Athletic, the gap is clear between Detroit and Green Bay. That's the headline. The gap is clear. I do not agree. I don't think Detroit can stop thinking about Green Bay. Green Bay is going to ruin this season somehow. You just have to know that. You just have to know it. I mean, it would be classic. Whether it be the next game or whether it be the playoffs, no Detroit fan is feeling comfortable about this. I know it. Good day of football. Good day of football. Close with a funny story, which was Seahawks Rams. That was on the big screen this afternoon. You know, Packers Lions was a blowout. Eagles Jaguars didn't care really. I mean, Jaguars kind of came back, whatever. Cardinals Bears. Cardinals were running away with it. So I had Seahawks Rams up there on the screen. I was feeling some hometown, like, okay, yeah, let's just sit down in the afternoon, just root for the home team. And Gino gets to the 5-yard line or 6-yard line or whatever. I gambled. We got a young son. I gambled to take out the recycling, and get back for the next play. Didn't quite make it. Okay. I was coming in as the play was happening. And I could hear Kathleen going, oh, wow, you gotta see this play. Wait. So she was going to rewind it for me so I could watch the play live. And I'm over there celebrating because I'm thinking this is some sort of Seahawks touchdown, right? I'm thinking, was it Lockett? Was it Walker? Was it JSN? Was it Bobo? I'm actually going, oh, as I'm just getting excited as she rewinds the remote. And I walk in there, I'm like, okay, press play. And she plays it. And it is a Rams 103-yard pick 6. It's like, why did you make me watch this? She's like, I thought it would be really cool. You love, and she is right. I do love all football, and I love all the big plays. She didn't even really realize how bad this was for the Seahawks, or how like in the mood I was to root for the Seahawks. 103-yard interception return, a team record, which I do not care about at all. I mean, what? Who cares about the team record for longest interception? They wouldn't shut up about that. By the way, why is 103-yard interception better than a 93-yard interception return? Are they really battling to, tacklers for an extra 10 yards? Like, you can't, it's not like there's like the 103-yard interception is 10 yards better than the 93-yard interception. It is just pure circumstance. Like a 93-yard interception can't be a 103-yard interception return. It can't be. So you're not comparing merit. Anyway, obviously I'm upset about that. Rams ended up beating us in overtime. Stafford, though, passed up Eli Manning for the top 10 touchdowns for quarterbacks, so that was nice. I mean, I don't know. Okay, going off the rails here at the end. We will see you this week. We got a couple of shows with Brother Kirk. We got mid-season episode report, and then we'll be here for what is actually, I think, a very interesting Thursday night game. And not like this is a hot take, but I think people are pretty excited and have circled the Bengals-Ravens Thursday night game as a memorable one. So we'll be here for both those things this week. Good night. Remember to vote. Good night.